Joining us tonight again for our Bible study day, Bible study time. Pastor Daniel Dihele, your humble servant, grateful to be with you tonight. So may the Lord bless you, may the Lord be with you. Please connect and also share this wonderful time with your friends and family where you are. And thank you for those who are abroad, connected and sharing as well. Tonight we'll be with you as um, the servant of God. Both are being called to a different duty, so God bless them where they are tonight. So we are grateful to know that it's all about the kingdom of God. May the Lord bless you. We salute Pastor Denise and Elder Anna. May the Lord bless you. So I will be tonight with you, so to go through this Bible study day, Bible study time. So I encourage you to share with those who are on your network, your friends and family. May the Lord bless you. Pastor Daniel Dihele, thank you so much for being one of the Theophilus. That means the lovers of God. Thank you. Tonight we are back to the Bible, back to the same theme that we studied at the beginning of the month. Grace has sustained us. So grace carry us through. So it's the grace that carry us through the year. Grace is very important. We'll be talking a little bit about that. Last week we defined the grace, and we talk a little bit more about the grace and even the mercy. We distinguish, give a difference between the grace and the mercy. We say grace, it is an unmerited favor, where mercy is something that you are getting after a deserving a punishment or something. God mercy on you and remove you from that. We give an example of you having an offense that was actually withdraw, not because you are right or you just, but because they have mercy on you. On the other side, grace is they offer you, they give you something that you did not deserve, you did not merit. So we are grateful to know that we are under both mercy and grace. The mercy of God that pulled us from His justice. We were and condemned to be, punished, be on the death row, and the wage of sin is death. But the mercy of God came and actually released us from that punishment. And the grace is even more than that, because the grace actually what it did to us, it gave us, it conveyed to us what we did not deserve. So tonight we are back to our Bible study day, Bible study time. We'll be touching a few points. We're talking about grace has sustained us. That is our theme. And then we take it from Lamentation chapter 3, verse 22 and going to 23. And we also come up with a sub-theme for tonight, for this particular Tuesday. That means grace spares us from trouble. The grace spares us from trouble. We take it from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. We see between the lamentation and the Apostle Paul. We're talking about Lamentation chapter 3, verse 22 to 23, and we also see the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. So the prophet Jeremiah wrote Lamentation at the heart of a broken nation. Things was not pleasant, as I said last time. A context of ruin and tear. The people suffer one of the worst exile, where things was not pleasant at all. Yet, even in this darkness, a prophetic light shines. God will come and speak to the people who did not have a hope anymore. So they were already in desolation. They thought they would be destroyed because it was the end, one of the worst one that they have experienced in terms of exile. So here we see God will remind the Israelite that His grace will never run out. So His grace will never run out. His compassion will never run out. Century later, we will see the Apostle Paul confirms this truth in the very same way, and by saying His grace is sufficient. That means His grace is active. The grace of God is active, and the grace of God is powerful, even in weaknesses or in trouble. So both Jeremiah in Lamentation and the Apostle Paul in Second Corinthians, they realized that God's grace never ran out, never ran out. So I want to encourage somebody tonight, that's what we'll be talking tonight, that the grace of God will never run out. Even when the enemy trying to send a mixed message in your mind with respect to the promises of God, with respect to the protection of God, the love of God, the blessings of God, remember this: the grace of God will never run out. Century later, the Apostle Paul enjoyed the same thing. Grace is not just forgiveness, as we always see it. When we talk about grace, we see the forgiveness. Yes, it is forgiveness. Also, God actually grants us the forgiveness of what we did not deserve. The sin was so heavy. It was not something easy to just be forgiven. So Christ died for us so we can be forgiven. That's good. Grace is not just forgiveness. It is also a strength. It is a strength. It is a protection. It is a support, and it is a deliverance. So the strength that carries us through when we travel to a different journey where things are not what we want to see, the grace of God is with us. And grace is also protection. God protects us in the midst of what we are going through. I was telling the French-speaking audience not long ago that there are battles that we don't see, we don't engage physically. Because our battle, the Apostle Paul says, it's not a carnal, it's not flesh. It's not against a flesh. It's not against flesh and blood, but it's spiritual. And those battles we don't know how to engage sometimes because we sleep, we wake up, we drive, we go to work, but the battle continues. The enemy does not stop where we're walking or we're sleeping, is fighting. But the grace of God protect us from all those battles. So when we talk about grace tonight, we want to remind you that grace is more than forgiveness. It's a strength, it's a power that fight against any power that are troubling us. It's a protection that are surrounding us. It's a support system that are really sustaining us. And it's also a deliverance that are pull us from any trouble. Remember, trouble may happen to the just, but the Lord always deliver them. So the grace of God, it's act before, act during, and act after time of difficulty. So the grace actually is in the line of time. It's before, it's during, and it's after. So I want to encourage you tonight to know that the grace is very important as we celebrate the grace of God. Because the grace is not just a power, it's not just a strength, it's not just a deliverance, it's a person. The grace is person. When we talk about grace, we see a person of Christ. And I want to encourage you tonight to be very blessed and happy to know that having Christ, you have grace. So once you have Christ, you have grace. You can call yourself grace because the one who lives in you is grace. Is himself grace. So grace reveals the heart of God in Jesus Christ. Our grace, as I mentioned, is personified by the person of Christ. If we want to talk about grace, we see Jesus according to John chapter 1 verse 14 and 16. So here we want to share with you the very first point of our theme for tonight. As I mentioned not long ago, we are talking about grace has sustained us, and we went down to grace spare us from trouble. How grace spare us from trouble? The very first thing you need to know that yes, indeed, the grace spare you from trouble, because grace actually fighting on your behalf before you even know or before you even engage to any battle. So let us read together Proverbs chapter 2 verse 8. If you have your Bible, would you please read with me tonight? Proverbs chapter 2, that's correct. Wait, just Proverbs chapter 2 verse 8, that's correct. So I'll read with you Proverbs chapter 2 verse 8. He guards the path of justice and preserve the way of his faithful one. Preserve the way of his faithful one. So God himself guards the path of justice and he preserved the way of his faithful. So grace prevented trouble before it reached us. Every trouble that you may encounter before it even become a big problem for you, you have to remember this, that God preserve you from those trouble. The trouble is always there. We cross a time and a situation of trouble, but the Lord is always with us. The Lord always preserve us. So I want to encourage you to know tonight that grace indeed preserve us from trouble. One may ask, Pastor, what do you mean by grace? Grace prevents trouble before it reaches. That means that God's favor and protection stop certain problems, certain dangers, and even attacks before they even touch our life. And someone will say, I didn't know I was going through this problem, but God has spared me. Many times we go through a lot of challenges in life, and even worse things in our life without knowing that God was there for us. If God was not there, somebody say it would be worse than that. Some people were spared from a worse accident. Some people was spared from any trouble, tragedy. I'm talking about people even from those incurable disease. We walk and we live with all those diseases around us, those infirmities that are going left and right. But some of us have been spared, not because we are better than the other, just to know that the grace of God is with you. So tonight we say grace is that, I mean that when we say grace prevents trouble before it reaches us, we want just to say simple as this: God's favor and protection stop certain problems, just take away some danger far from us before even become a problem. And one may say, Pastor, how those things happen? I mean, the beauty of God works in a mysterious way. That's a problem with humanity, because we don't see how God works in the mysterious way, and we sometimes question, sometimes we are impatient, sometimes we worry, we wonder. But I want to guarantee you tonight that in His grace, God just does not just deliver you, but also protect you, watch over your life, spare you, sustain you. So when we say grace prevented you from trouble before it reach you, we mean that means, if I may say, God sees danger before we do. And because He sees danger before it happens, He always work on your behalf, on your favor. So God will prevent you in many ways. Remember, there are times where you miss the boat, you miss the train, you miss the plane, you miss this. The grace is going before you to prevent you from some trouble that you don't know. And many times we wonder, we worry, we upset, we complain, we murmur when things are happening. But when grace wants to prevent you from trouble, it does things that you don't expect or want to see. But just remember, once you are in God's care, you become a child of God, or you surrender your life to Him, you have been looked after by His grace. You have been watched by His grace. You have been protected by His grace. So tonight I want to encourage you to know that, yes, indeed, grace prevents trouble before it reaches us as a children of God. And I don't say that we don't always face trouble, but I say it prevents, because it could be worse. Somebody will say, I've been to this accident. It's God. God just spared me. This is what happened to the other, but I was spared from that trouble. So what I want to say tonight is, if God blocks or divert trouble in advance, because He sees those things before, and they will prevent you to go through it. So I want to quote somebody tonight also by saying, when we say grace prevents trouble before it reaches us, we mean that His grace acts like an invisible shield You know that the beauty of God is always His shield, as a shield serve to protect you or to prevent you to be attacked by any weapons or things that are coming toward you. So I want to encourage you to know that tonight it is grace. If you reach December, from January 1st till now, not because you qualify for it or you are worthy of it or you have the means. No, it's because His grace carry you through. His grace preserve you from all those incurable disease may attach some, but you're being prevented. His grace may prevent you from some accident that you may be into. God prevent you. So His grace is indeed a shield. A shield that protects us from things we never even knew were coming. One of the things, if you know that things are coming, you will take precaution, you will try your best to avoid that. But when you don't know when things are coming, you see yourself in a very weak position. But I want to guarantee you tonight, His grace is sufficient. Once His grace is there, you are guaranteed He will carry you through. No matter how painful, dangerous, or trouble may be, He will be with you. So to just give you a very short sentence you may keep for yourself with respect to this particular first point that I'm sharing with you concerning the theme of tonight, which is grace prevents trouble before it reaches us. I want to say this: grace is God preventing trouble before it gets to you. So when you say, how can I define grace versus my trouble? Grace is the preventing trouble before it gets to you. It's like a prevention of any attacks, anything that are coming against you. Grace tending to say no. Grace tending to say back up. Grace tending to say no this time. So the grace of God is with you. So I encourage you to know tonight, even in the gospel, God is not only the one who fixes disaster, because grace doesn't just come before when there's a problem. Grace is before the problem, during the problem, and after the problem. So I want to encourage you tonight that He prevents, He protects, He diverts, and guard your heart. Guard your heart and protect your life. Jesus said, do not be afraid. And I like this. This is another assurance coming to tell us that because of grace watches over us even before danger appears, we must be sure and be guaranteed that having Christ is having the shield that prevents us from all that may come against us. Not saying that you won't go through trouble. Not saying that you will not be encounter difficult time. Not saying that you will not be sick, but you will be under the grace of God that will enable you to walk through any situation you may encounter, just because God is with you. So the other way we can see that also it is grace is another dimension of a blessing that mankind should enjoy, because God has a detail of everything, because He sees the end from the beginning, and He has a detail of every story before even it happened. He has the ability to tell you it's okay, it will be fine, because He knows the end. You know, the person who has the end of the story is not much panic about the middle of the story or the beginning of the story, because for that person it's just a process. It's a procedure. So I want to encourage you to know tonight that God knows the detail. He has all that have been going on in your life. All will happen. He has all the detail. Because He has the detail, He's telling you, don't be afraid. And because He's in control, He can guide you, He can take you out, He can deliver you, and do you well regardless of what you're going through. Also, grace of God in our life, the grace prevents us from trouble. That means also He intervened silently. You know, most of the time we like to see commotion because we live in the time of life where people want to see what capture the eyes. They want to see things that are more tangible. And the fact that we want to see all those things in that way, we become more captured with what impressed the eye, what impresses, what is more commotional. And I may say that because, you know, hey, I want to see something that how somebody jumping and shouting, how the demon are coming out of someone. I want to go to those churches where when somebody's shaking, they know the presence of God is there. When somebody's on the floor, I know the demon come out. And they measure the strength and the power, the anointing of a pastor of the church based on those commotion. But God, sometimes, I mean, most of the time, He acts silently. He delivers you in a very decent way. God is not there to shame people. You come church with a clean clothes and you go back and dirty because you know what, demon come out of your life, and you come out, somebody say humiliated and this and that and saliva here, the body this way. No, God is not in those things. God can deliver you in a decent way without anybody knowing. Remember the woman with the issue of blood, it was between him and Christ. If there was no testimony made that day, Jesus says, somebody touched me, nobody will know. Nobody will know that that woman was having issue and then was healed by the miracle of touching the cloth of Christ. So there, God acted. The woman just found the favor. Can you imagine? A quiet deliverance, a silent deliverance. The only thing we know, because Jesus want to make the people, the disciple know that you guys, you didn't realize that the power came out of me. But I want to encourage somebody tonight, very important, that in His grace, He intervenes silently. He does things in a way that you don't need commotion. You don't need to be humiliated. You don't need to be, no, it's just between you and God. So that provision God has it in His grace. Grace also blocks all the traps. You know, many times the enemy will put traps on our way. This is what he does. Every morning we wake up, the enemy has his own way of doing things. Jesus said he only comes. The thief has a plan contrary to the good shepherd. So when the thief comes, he wants to destroy, he wants to kill, he wants to do what is bad. So he has traps and things that he already put in the surrounding, so you may fall into those traps. But grace prevents us from the traps of the enemy. So I want to encourage you tonight to know that grace prevents you from any traps. And grace also prevents you from accident. I just mentioned that, there are times where you are trying to take this direction, God say, no, that one. You find yourself mistakenly somewhere. You say, oh, I think I'm lost. You're not lost. Grace just took you from that way to a different direction, because God is a faithful God. He will protect you. He will take you out of accident. Story of a pastor who was traveling to go preach abroad after a long time of fasting and praying, and he will reach the airport and miss the plane. And that was the day before the crusade. And he was complaining and worrying and say, why during the fasting and prayer I did not hear anything. So just on the day of my trip, I will miss the plane. So he complained, he worried, and grieved. He was not happy at all. But later on, he will learn that the plane that he missed crashed. So, and then he will come back to bow and reverence God and ask for forgiveness and worship God. So, God will prevent us with a lot of trouble, tragedy, accident by His grace. So He will take you out of from that way, from that relationship, from that person, from that life. Just move you from one place by grace to prevent you from attacks. God does that. Enemy plans, God will protect you. The grace of God. Remember, the Jewish were condemned according to the decree that was made by this man to the king. But Mordecai and Esther, including all the Jewish community, they were spared by grace. So grace actually changed the story of somebody's life from death row to freedom. Grace, you have been delivered by grace. And I want to encourage you tonight to know that if you are living, if you are where you are, not because you are better than the other. Today I was watching a video that really touched my heart in one of our, the village in Congo, Republic of Congo. I watched a video in the village. Children finish school, talking about high school. This is a primary school. They finish school, but they're taking boat to cross the river. Those who don't have the means of taking boat, they have to go with their clothes in the river. So just to say that some of us have been graced to see and to live in places and having things that we take for granted. I want to encourage you today to remember where you are, you're sitting, you're doing, you have. It's all about grace. It's all about grace. So grace will prevent you. Another thing I want to say quickly as we go, many of God's deliverance are invisible. Sometimes God, in His grace, He will close door. So not every door is closed by the enemy. Not every door is closed by witchcraft. Not every door is closed by Satan. So some door is closed by grace. So the grace of God close some door to prevent traps. Sometimes things may happen in that door that you have been pushing yourself into. God will prevent you for that. He removes certain people from our path. And I mentioned that not long ago. Some relationship, God remove people. And don't worry much. Sometimes we have tendency to worry so much and say, why is this happening to me? And some people are calling it lately spirit of rejection, abandonment. But sometimes it's not neither the spirit of rejection or abandonment. It's just God Himself, the grace. The grace actually removes certain people who was and they were the stumbling block. They were a problem for your life. They were really obstacles for you. God removed them out of your path to protect you. So grace also places invisible limit. Sometimes we fight some limitation. I rebuke the spirit of limitation. I push back what was the boundary of limitation. But sometimes grace places limit and just around you to make sure that why you don't go astray, how you don't go out of the blessings. So grace is there to protect you. Also, we see this great story of Job, chapter 1, verse 10, where Satan will say to God, you are placed age of protection. The grace also put the age of protection around you just to get you in a safe place. And I want to encourage you tonight, beloved, grace keep us safe from danger on the way. Grace blocks the enemy before he attacks us. Grace gives us discernment to avoid a wrong decision. So when we talk about the grace of God prophetically we say by God's grace every trap prepared against you is neutralized before it arrives. So when the enemy are planning, are plotting, before that things arrive, the grace go before you to stop the enemy. The grace of God rise up before Balaam and Balak. Israel was sleeping. They did not even know that Balaam and Balak was corrupt. They were corrupt to curse, to send enchantment curse against Israel. But the grace of God was with them. And I want to encourage you tonight to know that the grace of God preventing most of the battle that you have been engaged, you shouldn't. You are creating the sub-problem, the sub-trouble, the sub-battle. You don't need to create our problem because God is already fighting for you. I don't say that you don't pray. I don't say that you don't rise up and cast out demons. I say you need discernment. So tonight we learn all together that yes, indeed, grace prevents trouble before it reaches us. The second point that I want to share with you, this is grace deliver us out of trouble. We talk about grace prevent, but now grace is delivering. You find yourself in trouble. We're not saying that you are the trouble coming, because the prevention is different than when you find yourself in a problem. There are people who are living and they're in trouble. Trouble may touch the just. The Lord deliver them. I always deliver them. So here we want to talk about grace that delivers us out of trouble, because we will be in one way or the other through trouble. Trouble is not something that is excluded in our journey as a Christian, as a human being. We will find the trouble of many kinds. But the great thing to know, the good thing to know, if you may, you may take it that way, it is that we have the grace, the provision called grace from God Himself to deliver us from trouble. A great example of Daniel in the lion's den. He was put in that place where lions were starved. They were starved. They were hungry for a long time. They keep them without food. When they throw Daniel inside a place, he will be food for them. Destroy that it will be that eaten by the lion. But the great thing about this story here is Daniel was under the grace of God. And I mentioned grace is not just the protection, grace is not just the strength, grace is not just a thing. Grace is God Himself. Grace is Jesus Himself, the person of Christ. So when Daniel was thrown in the lion's den, the lion did not see Daniel, they see grace. And I'm here to tell someone, when you find yourself in trouble, remember you are under grace. And if you see yourself that way, you will experience that grace. You build your hope in God. Grace delivers us out of trouble means that God unearned favor. I'll say that again. That favor that you did not merit, and the power rescues us, if I may say that, rescue our life from difficulty, crisis, and distress. Very important that the grace of God come and rescue our life, take us out of that trouble, not by virtue of our strength, our ability, our knowledge, our intelligence, our wisdom, not at all. Only by His grace, God will come and pull you out. I love that. When the lion see Daniel and say, this is not the meat, this is the Creator. We cannot eat the Creator. When you're walking with Him, that's why the scripture said the one who is in us is greater than the one who is in this world. So when we are walking as a believer, when we're walking as a believer, we have God in us. And the presence of God, that grace that will cover us, warn any enemy to touch us. Do not touch them. He warns them. So I want to encourage you tonight to know that the grace, when we say grace delivers us out of trouble, we mean when we face trouble, when we face danger or hardship, grace acts to bring us out safely. The key word is safely. So the grace of God will pull you out safely, will protect you from that danger. It doesn't always prevent the trouble, but it's ensure we are not left defeated or destroyed. So grace not just prevent, but also ensure that we are not defeated. You know, most of the time you will go to trouble and you'll come out defeated. But I want to encourage you, when you're under grace, we see the three friends of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The three friends of Daniel, those friends of Daniel were in trouble. They were in the fire, in the furnace of fire. It did not prevent them to go to the fire, but it protected them through the fire. So they were inside the fire, but they were not consumed. So why? Because the grace. Remember, they found the fourth person in the fire. Just to remind you that when you have grace, you always have Him with you. Grace is a person. Grace is Christ. So what we mean also by saying that grace delivers us out of trouble, we said this deliverance can be physical, can be also emotional or spiritual, or circumstantial, depending on God's will. Many times we go to a different level of trouble. I know some people physically they may seem strong, but emotionally they are weak. They have been facing situations that have been tormenting them emotionally. And some people spiritual weak. Some people just the circumstantial time, the things that are surrounding them are not pleasant. Things are going not on their favor. We're talking about succession of events, event that you don't want to enjoy, to want to see. But in all that you're going through, remember the grace of God is with you. So, what I want to say tonight, grace is the active hand of God. I'll say that again. Grace is the active hand of God that lifts us from the pit of trouble. Every time you find yourself in any place, in a dungeon, remember Joseph. The grace take him out from dungeon, from that pit, from that place he was, and make him found someone who will take him as a slave. And then the grace took him from that person to the house of Potiphar's house. The grace took him again from Potiphar's house to the king's, the palace. So I want to encourage you to know that as long as you have the grace, it doesn't matter with pit they put you, hole they may put you. It doesn't matter where they place you. It doesn't matter where you're going. Once you find yourself under grace, you will reach the destination. So I encourage you tonight, and I prophesy over your life that tonight, regardless of where you are, regardless of what's going on, as long as you're under grace, you will reach the destination. You will reach where God intended for you to be or to go. So what I want to say tonight, if you want, I can also bring you back to the Bible, Psalm 34 verse 17, to give you a better understanding. The Bible says, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The key word is all their troubles. No, some of their trouble. When the righteous cry to the Lord, that means when we are under grace, we can convey our trouble, we bring our trouble to God, and God will change our status. He said, come unto me, you are weary and burdensome, I will give you rest. So God is able to deliver you. So I want to encourage you tonight that also the gospel, it's another form of a grace that we receive. The gospel is Christ himself. The gospel is a good news that brings us a hope, consolation, and it gives us that hope that we can stand regardless of what we are going through. And the book of the Gospel of Luke chapter 4 verse 18 said the Spirit of the Lord is Jesus speaking here about the Spirit of the Lord upon him, and he's giving us a great example here what grace can enable us, give us as a power to exercise our right. So by grace we have a provision also to stand against every power of darkness. Grace never leaves anyone in the same situation in which they were found. I'll say that again. Grace never leaves anyone in the situation they were found. So it found you weak and it make you strong. It finds you in trouble, it deliver you. It finds you sick and it heal your body. Grace always change your status from where you came from to where God wanted to be. For who you are, where you used to be, to where or who God wanted to be. Grace will change your status. So I want to say to somebody tonight that God does different great things, but I want to give you 3 tonight when grace is manifested. It hears your cry. It never ignore your pain. When you're under grace, you cry unto him. He hears your prayer. When you're under grace, he intervenes, God. He actually come and release his power over your life. He bring you out. And I want to say to somebody tonight, I don't know where you are, emotionally, spiritually, financially, but I want to encourage you tonight to know that grace is the hand that lifts you from the pit, take you out. Psalm 40 verse 2 reminds us that God is the one who delivers us from any pit we may find ourselves, any trouble we may find ourselves. So I want to encourage you tonight that grace will not just prevent, but also take you out of trouble. Grace conveys healing. Grace conveys transformation. It brings restoration. It turns around our life from the troubled time to a joyful time. It brings also breakthrough in our life. Grace brings a miraculous end to a difficult season. I want to encourage somebody tonight. I don't know what season you are going through. If it's a season of shame, the season of trouble, the season of pain, the season of sickness, remember, grace is there for you. You are never condemned to remain in distress. God has an after for every trouble. The trouble may last just for a night, in the night maybe, but joy come in the morning. You may go through trouble time. Trouble time is temporary, cannot last forever. So I encourage you that the grace is upon you as we speak to deliver you from any trouble time. So grace always writes the last chapter. This is something you need to take for yourself. No matter what you're going through, grace will write you the last chapter. So you can have a book of 10 chapters. 9 are full of trouble, full of problem, full of calamity, the challenge, difficulty, shame, deception. But the last chapter of grace is deliverance. The last chapter of grace is restoration. The last chapter of grace is healing. The last chapter of grace is blessing. So grace will always write you the last chapter, which is on your favor, because it's an undeserved merit, something you don't deserve. So at the end, grace will be manifested. So to close, the second point is grace deliver you from trouble. Your season of distress is over. For somebody want to know more, listen, grace has traveled with us from all the stage of our life. Grace is before, grace is during, grace is after. That means grace prevent us, grace sustain us, and grace deliver us. So when you are under grace, before is preventing you, during is sustaining you, and after is delivering you. So grace prevents, grace sustains, and grace delivers. And also grace prevention is in a way that is coming to remind you that you do not have to settle for less. You don't let the enemy fool you. It gives you a better understanding. It opens your mind to see the devices of the enemy. Grace will come to tell you, do not take that way. Grace come also to move you from certain things. And grace come to assist you. And during it assists you, it gives you the strength. It gives you the courage. It gives you the ability to stand firm, resist the devil, so he shall flee. Grace also come to restore you at the end. So we have a 3 stage. We have grace before, grace during, and grace after. Before, prevention. During, assistance. And then after, restoration. The first one I say, prevent, sustain, and deliver. The second one, prevention, assistance, and restoration. Grace also is an invisible protection. Before, you don't see anything. It comes and it protects you without you knowing and seeing. The angel of the Lord will carry you, and your foot will not, or your feet will not hurt the stone. God will take care of you. The angel of the Lord will walk around those who fear him, to take them out of trouble. You don't see them. The presence of God is there fighting on your behalf. So invisible protection before, and active strength during. It gives you the ability to remain faithful regardless the time that you're going through. Daniel said, no, I will not bow to other idol. And he was thrown in the dungeon. I mean the pit, den. And even when they put him in the lion den, the lion den, he was there. But the grace give him the courage to face the lion. As a human being, to face the lion who was angry watching you, I mean, sometimes it's scary. But Daniel was strengthened by God. Joseph found himself in those places, strengthened by God. David was strengthened by God in the midst of adversity. The Apostle Paul was strengthened by God. So grace gives you the strength during. Grace gives you the miraculous exit, deliver you miraculously from any trouble. We see the story of the 3 friends of Daniel. They came out from the furnace of fire miraculously. Nobody can believe. Those who came to throw them in the fire were dead. They're gone. But the Bible tells us that the 3 friends of Daniel were stay intact. Nothing, no burn. They come out from the fire as they went in the fire. So this is how God sustained His servant, he sustained Jeremiah in the midst of adversity. He sustained the Apostle Paul in the midst of all pressure that he went through. He sustained David in the attacks of all Goliath and Saul and his son and all those people who chased him. God sustained him. God was with him. So also you need to know that tonight grace is not a concept. Very important, because when we talk about grace, we don't just see it as a concept. Grace is a person. I mentioned that in the beginning. Grace is a person, Jesus Christ himself. Without him, there is no protection, there is no support, there is no deliverance. With him, grace is complete. Grace is sufficient, and grace is powerful. So when we talk about grace, we are talking the person of Christ. From his John chapter 1 verse 16, I say, for from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. So grace is the person of Christ. So tonight I encourage you with those 3 points that I mentioned. The first one is I mentioned from our teaching of tonight. The first point that we share, quickly just going back to it, is grace. The theme is grace spare us from trouble. And the first point is grace prevent trouble before it reach us. That was our first point that we share. The second point that we share tonight with you, it is a grace. Grace sustain us in the midst of trouble. I think we didn't touch a grace sustain, and we will touch it quickly as we go. So that will be our third point, our third one. So the first point was grace prevent trouble before it reaches us. The second point here, I reverse it. So I'll take the second point will be grace deliver us out of trouble. And the third point will be, for those who are connected tonight, grace sustain us. We have prevent, we have sustain, and we have deliver. So the 3 points are very clear. The first one, it prevent. Grace prevent us. It prevent us from what? From any trouble, any of the things that they are seeing, the things that are surrounding us, the battle that we are not seeing, the invisible battle, the invisible pressure, the all things that are surrounding us. It prevents us from a lot of things. And then we say, a second one, we say grace deliver us. And the third one is grace sustain. One of the things is to prevent and to deliver. But if they don't sustain you, you may fall to the same trial. So the good thing, the very traps, I mean, the good thing is to be sustained. When they sustain you, they give you the ability to remain firm and faithful, focused. So I am grateful tonight to share this last point quickly with the time that I have. I think 2 minutes left. Grace sustain us in the midst of trouble. Psalm 55 verse 22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. You see, God will sustain you. This is a powerful word, sustain. And when we talk about sustain, we are not just seeing some small things here. We are seeing more than that. We talk about sustain, we talk about maintaining. One of the things is to build, but if we don't maintain it, things collapse. One of the things is to have. When you don't maintain what you have, before you know it, it's gone. So here we're seeing that grace sustain us. Grace sustain us from life, from the journey that we are called to travel with. And I want to encourage someone tonight, according to what we just read not long ago, that grace is a very important when it comes to the matter of sustaining us. What does mean? Somebody may ask, Pastor, what mean grace sustain us? That means God give us a strength, God give us a peace, God give us the support while we are going through difficult time. You know, while we are going through difficult time, God give us all those things that can keep us focused, keep us strong, keep us bold. You know, sometimes the enemy will come and to remind us that it's over. But when you have a grace, God will say to you, be strong regardless what you see. We see one of the things that Joshua had to face when he just came on board as a leader in the midst of adversity, losing his mentor and the leader. Oh, he learned everything concerning to leadership and dealing with the stubborn people who cannot even obey God. So those are the people that he have to lead. But God has said to him, give him the grace. He sustained him, say, be courageous. God will give you the courage that you need. So grace give us a strength. Strength in the midst of adversity. It give us a peace in the midst of adversity. It give us a support in the midst of adversity. When we go into any situation that we may encounter, grace give us all those things that we need. So grace help us, number one, to stand when life is heavy. And I keep on telling people, if you are around today, it's not because you're making more money or because you're smart, you're intelligent than the other, or you're healthy than the other, or you're beautiful, or you are beautiful, or you're handsome man, or you're intelligent. No, it's grace. Grace gives us the ability to stand when life is heavy, when things get out of order, when trouble comes on our way, when confusion are coming, when illusion, when people are surrounding, are forsaking you, when people don't even trust you anymore, not because you're bad, but because they choose to. When people take a few things in your life to measure you, grace keep you strong. Grace keep you boldly. Grace keep you faithful. And I love that. Some of us have been going to a journey like that, where we have to depend only on grace. So I'm here to encourage someone again tonight to remind you that grace sustains you. It's sustaining you through the situation that you're going through. So grace also gives us inner strength that we don't have, or we don't own from our own. You know, this inner strength is something that when you have it, you will be still regardless of what's going on. Be still, the Lord is with you. When you have an inner strength, you become ready to fight any battle. The scripture said David strengthened himself in the Lord, and that strength enables him to rise up and chase the enemy or defeat the people in Ziklag, to give him the strength to go and overtake those people. And I'm here to encourage you that grace can sustain you in that manner. So grace is God's presence carry us through the storm. So there are storms that you cannot go through by yourself. You will be gone and dead. But the grace of God will carry you through those storms, and you'll go and come out. Somebody said, I didn't even know how I made it. Yes, because grace was with you. I didn't even know how it happened. Yes, you don't know, because grace carry you through. So grace is there. Even if the storm does not stop immediately, the grace still there. The grace of God. So to make it short for you, give you something you can keep on this point, grace sustain us. I mean that grace is God holding us up during trouble. Grace is God holding you during trouble. Somebody said the anchor hold, though the ship is battle. As long as they put that things to keep the boat, the ship, it doesn't matter how the pressure or the power of the wind go, the ship still connected. So I want to encourage you tonight and to remember that. Psalm 55 verse 22 says, cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. God will sustain you even at the heart of suffering. In the midst of adversity, Jesus is present, is your grace. I will be with you till the end. I will not leave you or neither forsake you. During the storm, we see the storm. Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41. We see the storm, but grace did not prevent the storm. And I'm here to remind someone, we have been going to places and churches and ministry where they tell us that, you know why? God is only good when things are good. When things are bad, you have to leave. You leave the church. You forsake things. Everything is wrong when things are bad. No. Even in the storm, Grace is there. The disciples were with him in the boat, and the ship, that boat, they were there with him. Grace was with them, but the storm did not stop to trouble them. They were afraid, confused, they yelled, they cried, they spoke to him, they called him, why are you sleeping? Don't you care that we are perishing? All those things. But at the end of the day, grace was there. So grace does not prevent us from the storm, but grace prepares us to handle the storm. So I'm here to encourage you to know that even in the middle of the storm, grace gave you the power to navigate the storm, to go through the storm. It gives you the ability and the power, the wisdom, the discernment, how you can stay calm, how you can stay still, how you can stay focused. The cross itself, we see Jesus have to go to the cross. Cross is a great testimony of grace. He had the Father's grace, full of grace, but he had to go to the cross, and he bore our weaknesses. He went to the cross. So grace is therefore a presence, not just a deliverance. And I want you to know, when you see grace as a person, you will see him a presence that working with you. So I am with you in the fire. He said, I will be with you. In the fire, I'm with you. When you pass through the river, the water, I will be with you. Isaiah 43:2. So grace is with you. Even in the midst of adversity, grace is the midst of your trouble. How, Pastor? By the strength that God gave you beyond what natural, sight or things can give you. You know, the time where you only have the strength that comes from God to remain strong in the midst of adversity. He said, the joy that I gave to you, the world did not give it to you. The joy that we have, though that we have or we don't, though that we go through trouble or not, though that we are sick or not, though that he heals us or not, he delivers us or not, we still have the joy to love him because grace is with us. So grace is the endurance beyond natural, things. So God give you that endurance. You can continue to go on and on and on and on regardless. Grace is the heavenly resources. I love this. It's a heavenly resources in impossible earthly situation. You have the resources from God, heavenly resources in the impossibility of life. That is grace. So you are pressing on regardless. You are going regardless, and God is making way as you proceed. So tonight, I want to encourage you by saying this is what you may take as the application of this second point. Grace sustain us. Remember, grace prevent, grace sustain, and grace deliver. The second point, the application I'll give you as you take tonight is grace carry your burden. We cannot carry the burdens that you cannot carry. You cannot bear your alone. So that's where you see sometimes it's too heavy, it's too difficult, it's too complicated, but you still have the ability to manage what you are facing. I want to remind you that grace. So tonight, remain under grace. Grace stabilizes the heart during the storm. Things are going bad, but your heart is in peace. You still have a focused minded, and you still have watching what you have to do concerning the kingdom. So grace gives us peace, not the absence of war. We will have trouble, but we have peace. In every battle, grace will be your strength. Tonight, I prophesy over you and your family. You will not fall, for God sustain you. May the Lord bless you as we share those 3 points tonight. The topic of the Bible study tonight, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is grace spares us from trouble. 3 points that we mentioned: grace prevents us from trouble before it reaches us. Grace sustain us. We mentioned grace sustain us, and then the last point is grace deliver us from trouble. May the Lord bless you, Pastor Daniel Dihele, your humble servant. Until we meet again soon, thank you for being faithful and connected. Please connect with us for our Thursday service, prayer service on Thursday, and then Sunday for our worship time. God bless you as we prepare ourselves for a new oaks of righteousness the year to come. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you until we meet again soon. Thank you for our producer, Willie Angus, and all the team in the media, the Mandikis, the DLAs, Dine, and all the team beyond the scene. God bless you until we see you again soon. Pastor Daniel Dihele, your humble servant. Thank you, and bye-bye.